a little bit. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing in the future? All right. I think everything's working out. So here's some drawings I drew yesterday. I did a little duck cave thing. I drew a vest that looks like a rib cage. I drew this on stream a couple of days ago and I really liked it, so I did it again. I was messing around. This is like a belt clasp I was thinking about. And then I've been drawing this. This is the Oxford bell ringing, like forever bell ringing. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like a long-term experiment. And the bell rings on based on these batteries that have been going for like 185 years. So I was thinking it'd be really cool to draw that, but this one has a big mistake. I moved my desk and the whole thing is like tilted, and it makes it really hard to judge what's straight. And so this is not straight. And I didn't realize until I was finished. And so, womp womp. But yeah, I don't know what to draw today. I drew some really old-fashioned teddy bears, but I don't have them with me. So let's do, I don't know. What the heck? Ow. So sometimes I draw really strange people. Let's draw a strange person. I think they're fun. I start with the head. I do bigger heads than proportionally are appropriate. And I think part of that started because I was drawing on this piece of paper and I like to draw heads this big. And then the bodies can't be full size if the heads are this big, and I drew it on this piece of paper. So it's but now I just like to do it. There's something about, oh, you know what else? As I was thinking, I have all these like colored pencil shavings, and I was thinking if I should do anything fun with them. One time I repaired an Xbox controller by using crazy glue and putting the pencil shavings in to repair the hole. So let's have this person be looking at us. I think we'll do like cartoonishly big eyes. We can even do cartoonishly shaped eyes. I don't usually do that. I try to keep them pretty realistic, but let's see what it's like. I want him to be looking at us. So that's what I'm doing here. Coca-Cola can? Sure. Let's do it to it. This guy is starting to look really anime. I mean, I did do cartoonishly large eyes on purpose, but I didn't. They don't always look anime. Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I like the 12 ounce. That's what I grew up with. Let's drop some lines because I've been having such a hard time getting my things straight because this desk is still tilted. I haven't had a chance to get it leveled. And so I'm feeling anxious about my things not being straight across. It's already hard. Usually I have a ruler that I double check everything with, but because I moved my desk, I also lost my ruler. Oh, thank you. I have played some VR, but I don't think I've done any of it. Unless, wait, like VR the entire, is that a specific game? I have not played. I've done some PlayStation VR and I've done like watching movies and stuff in VR. So if you're talking about that, that's where I'm at. But if you're talking about something specific, probably not. And I don't have a headset right now. I wish I had. No, I don't know Gorilla. No, I don't know Gorilla Tag. Is it fun? Okay. Ooh. So we have to choose. Wait, let me. I'm having flashbacks because I was so far out with this drawing I just did. Yeah. What the hell? Well, if you have a ruler, you should use a ruler. Oh, hand. That's the worst thing ever. We're doing a Coke can, so let's put a hand on it. Ugh. The struggle is real, guys. Okay, pinky, this finger, the middle one, which is the longest. We'll have to figure out what digits are where. I'm kind of going, these are the basics. And then let's have the pointer be kind of not in line with them because that's how pointers freaking are. They're always off doing their own damn thing. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Oh, that pointer's too long, but there we go. There we go. Now we'll get more specific on this hand in a little bit, but I'm just getting some basic shapes in right now. Subject to change. Thumb. How does a thumb look on a hand? Something like that. Okay, so we're seeing mostly like the front part of the thumb. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's see if I can straighten this up in the drawing. I mean, in the camera. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of a little bit of these markings just because they were confusing me. Okay, we'll still come back to that. So, oh yeah, and some of this because this was also confusing me. I'm trying to see. So my desk is slanted weird, so I have to keep picking this up to like double check that I'm doing it straight. Because my eyes are lying to me. And for stuff like this, I usually have a ruler that's gridded. Oh, thank you so much, Hotfoot. Okay, so we're gonna throw the UPC here. Bop, 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 bop. We'll do like, we'll come back and do that proper later. And it probably says like copyright Coca-Cola or whatever. Okay. So where do we think? So if this is the back of the can, we have nutritional facts. And then this will be like Ola. Probably something like that. And then what's on the rest of the can? Oh, like a background wave and some like little decorative bubbles. That seems right. Okay. I'm using I just realized that the camera that you guys are looking through is level. So I can kind of use that to see how straight this thing is. Okay, I think the rough details for the can are all right. Let's make the hand a little bit more solid. All right, hands suck. I know I'm not the first person to say this, but like when AI was bad at hands. So I just started illustrating like 5 or 6 years ago. So like I was starting my learning journey and like getting really into it just as like Dolly came out and you were able to, and I was like, oh, perfect timing. But everyone being like, oh, the AI is really bad at drawing hands. That's how you can tell. I was like, I'm really bad at drawing hands. But yeah, I'm not the first person to talk about that and how strange that can feel and how hard hands are still. I draw them relatively frequently now, probably at least once a day. I do some hands as practice. I've drawn like from skeletons, like going from building from the bone structure up. Then I've picked up some tips and tricks, like here, I just kind of got the basic shape down before I started thinking about anything else. And I think that's really big. Like, okay, so what's weird here? Here we go. That finger needs to be bigger. This finger needs to be bigger. Yeah, because if it's pushing into the can, we can have the pinky. No, I have the pinkies curved out and like kind of down, or it's flat. Let's make it flat. That makes it easier. Yeah, so like to do basic shapes first, and then I've learned all sorts of tricks about like how, oh, hey, Birdman, welcome. I've learned all sorts of tricks about like when you're doing the hand, like this, and then my hands are strangely shaped, which doesn't help when you're learning to draw hands. There was an artist who was drawing feet, so I learned like if you have this finger bone, this one, then this next finger bone should be about half the size of that one, and then this next finger bone should be about half the size of that. And if you do that, that makes a pretty okay hand. But that's not mine. My first two are like almost the same. So I draw it somewhere in between. I do my first one, my second one about 3/4, and then my last one, uh, like a third or a quarter of that one. And then this looks more like my hand. All right, so let's get back to this guy. So one of the things about the shape is like if you're just thinking about how the fingers go, sometimes like you're not making sense of the shape of the hand, which I think I used to do quite a lot. Okay. Now I don't want to get, like, I don't want to turn this into something realistic. I do still want it to be firmly an illustration. So we're going to stylize a little bit and figure something out with that. I guess we have to like sort of pick our style. Where it's touching the can, it's going to be flat unless it's pushing the can in. So sometimes I used to draw my fingers still like rounded on the side, even when they were like touching something, and then it looks really silly. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about this. What we can do is we can start picking and choosing some of our real lines, and then erasing stuff and adding a little color. Okay. So I guess we'll do, I'm going to throw in a little double line at the bottom to like hint at cuticle. That feels right. And then no nail on the thumb because we're seeing the underside of it. I'll do a little shading there. Okay. We'll probably do like dun 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 dun. And then dun 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 bum 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 bum. All right. Oh, you know, nutrition facts sometimes have that like up at top, it's like black with little white, like black with white lettering. We can do that too. Okay. Oh, and then there's like an ingredients list, natural flavors. And then I had the bottom looking like the top, but actually this would pull in and have that little bevel. I don't know what that's called. I would think of it as a bevel. Like a, and then for the top, I think we should have it be opened. And let's have it be so the person who's holding it is drinking out of it. And basically all we'll see is this little guy, the little tab. I'm going to draw like a plane of where that tab might be. So I'm going to imagine the top of the can through this. I'm going to draw that circle. Since we're only in a sketch, it shouldn't matter. And then I'm going to imagine where if this is the circle and this is the mouth, then sort of that's the tab, and then that's my line. We're drawing it. Okay. Yeah, that feels right. Maybe the angle's a little bit off, but I think for an illustration, that's fine. I mean, for not realistic illustration. Okay. Romantic. Oh, romantic. Hey, Crazy Bell Mendoza. Welcome, welcome. Okay. And then it's like, psh. Something like that. All right. Now I'm trying to determine how much further I want to go with this, because I'm tempted to at very least give it a clean up and add a little color, like even just scribble color. It seems fun. Yeah, I wonder how I would do a romantic scene. I've thought a lot about this, right? So I have friends who earn money by drawing romantic scenes. And I thought I could probably do that. I just don't know. I don't know. I've not really practiced that type. I'm not great at drawing people. I can do it. It just takes me a long time. So it's not something I hugely like to do on stream. Just because, you know, you like to work on your strengths when you're on stream because everyone can see you. Everyone can see me. But yeah, it's something I've thought about. I think it could be fun. It reminds me, my wife did a painting and it was just two women standing next to each other, but it had a real romantic vibe. And I think about that, like you can do a lot of romance in a plate. Yeah, we'll do this plate before we add any more color to this Coca-Cola. Okay. And put that aside. Oh my gosh, I forgot I had tea. Tea. Okay. Where are we? You're there and there. Okay. So when I draw something like a plate, I like to think of like the plane that it's sitting on and how we're viewing it from there, and then draw that way. So we're viewing this plate from the top, and that's just because of where the viewer is. And I definitely give it a lot of scribble, and then I choose my lines from the scribble based on what looks right. Plates have to have a little thickness, because otherwise, like a paper plate can be just a line. But if it's like a dinner plate, most dinner plates will have a little bit of thickness, throw in a little shadow. And then sometimes, depending on the angle, I'll add like a foot underneath, like something the plate is standing on. This one's a little crooked. We'll pull this top piece in a little bit. It's just a little far out. Okay. And I'll add just a tiny little like bump underneath. This still feels far out. We're going to pull that in again. That feels better. Sometimes the way I think I'm going to draw it initially changes, like the angle that I'm viewing it from, or like that I feel like I'm viewing it from. And that's what's happened here. My brain, I keep filling in the angle with different information from my brain. And so it makes me want to change the shape of the circle. And I'll go through that a few times often, especially when it's something in isolation. If we throw some mashed potatoes on there, some baby carrots, maybe some, oh, like a piece of meat. Suddenly that feels a lot better. Okay. I'm just going to do a little scribble color on this. Sometimes I like to, just like as a rough draft, to see what something will look like with color, give it a scribble color. Sometimes it looks great. Sometimes you go, oh, I'll have to change the colors of that. Sometimes you're like, I think I'm going to take this all the way to finished. And you can do that. Sometimes you can take a scribble color and just keep working on it. Do I have a finger color one? Oh no. I lost my black pencil. I like took it. I accidentally was in my pocket and I took it on a walk. And I cannot find it. I'll add some shadow. Oh, okay. So one thing that I really used to struggle with that I'm like, I scream from the rooftops now, is like keep changing the thing. Like don't let something feeling wrong make you stop. Like just work forward on something, right? You can't work backwards on things. You can't say, oh, I wish I had done it that way. Like you can, but it doesn't do anything. But you can work forwards on stuff and go like, okay, what can I do to make this into something new that I like? So I've just started using the outlines like this. This is relatively new to me. I used to never ink on top of pencil. I would create a whole new drawing and ink that separate. But lately I've been just inking right on top of pencil and coloring right on top of pencil. And coloring before I ink. I used to ink and then color. So my process has changed a lot, just even in the last couple of weeks. This is where I get careful with the like barcode and stuff. I'll turn that and grab that sidewards. What the heck? Give it a little curve. Here it'll be mostly straight. For barcodes, I don't care too much about being properly spaced because I'll just come back in and make some of them thick and some of them thin where I think I've messed it up or I want to add more. I'm going to thicken the outline on these fingers. That'll help them pop to the front. These guys should touch. Is Sonic sad still? Hey, Jurassic Park, fine art. Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah. He was sad. I mean, I don't know if you caught it. He was sad because the co-founder of Sega had passed away that day. Man, I draw so much more red than anything else. I did not realize. But my red colored pencil is totally the one I use most. Okay, yeah, you did see. I couldn't remember. Outline this thumb a little. Oh, I'll draw something else. Maybe I'll go back to that. Oh, wait, you know what I want to do? Oh, it should probably be brown. The effervescent. Where's my pencil sharpener? Here it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's sad, but like it's kind of great. Like a lot of people pass and they don't have some huge legacy, right? But this guy does. He has Sega and like forever. So as long as he was proud of what Sega had become, I think it's like, I think I can be happy for what he created. Draw little circles for bubbles and then little like popped bubbles, just little like crosses with that don't connect. And then sometimes these little like hypocycloids that are like bubbles in the process of popping. That's how I think of it. And then little dots. All right. Not bad. could do. I could do. Let's see. Oh shoot! This is supposed to go behind the finger. And that's fine. I've never had Duolingo. Oh, I think my weird guy's here. Yeah. We put him on the back. We'll do new weird guy. New weird guy. Ooh. No, it should have been. I've never seen one of those, but I've seen the ramen where you pull the string and it heats up. Let's do. Oh yeah, we should definitely do Pete the Duck. I've been thinking about that. I can't remember the last time I did Pete the Duck. I was thinking about Pete when I drew this. Hang on, where is it? This duck. Oh my gosh, what did I just click on? There you go. This Duck Island. Oh, thank you. Where's my... Okay, I'll get that one. What am I looking for? You know, sometimes you like start looking for something and then you're like, wait. Oh yeah, crispy duck. Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it. Okay, I'm just gonna... I always think about these caves, and I've been practicing a lot to try to like make landscape out of just like shading and shapes. Have some tea. Landscape is still kind of hard for me because of like can't always like think about what it is. Hoisin sauce. I think the first time I ever had duck, it was in a quesadilla. You know, it's like, you know, sometimes parents are like, oh no, that's not for kids. Kids don't like that. But it's just because they want it. Oh, take care, Jurassic. Oh, I don't know. Double sauteed pork. I'm gonna do Pete the Duck. Yeah, let's do him a little bit bigger than usual. I always draw him so small, and then it's hard to get any details into him. Beaks, man, like, or bills. I always wonder, I always remember, I have to look up the difference all the time between beaks and bills. The Bills are a football team, and beaks are what you call noses if you're in the, I don't know. I was trying to think of where they call why do I keep saying noises? Where they call beaks noses. Nope, noses beaks. Okay, calm down, Pete. The New York Peaks, yeah. That was like the Mighty Ducks. They might call them the Beaks. Okay. I like how I'd been drawing a lot of geese, and then I drew a duck, but I just drew him a lot like a geese. And then I was like, oh, wait, what kind of duck is this? And then I had to look up a duck that kind of looked like him and see if there were any. And there was one duck that sort of looks like Pete the Duck. I thought I would have him eating a can of beans. So let's do that. I shouldn't do it on the same. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So still big, I think that's right. Mouth up to the sky and open. Okay, that's the top. That's that. And it gets thicker as it goes back. That's true. There's the nostril. And this is basically just a flat scoop on the bottom. Ah, there we go. Winged hand, can of beans. Oop, holding my breath. Don't know why I do that. Always feels silly. And then it makes me wonder if I wasn't streaming and I didn't notice that I wasn't talking and then realize I was holding my breath. Like, how long do I hold my breath for when I'm just drawing by myself? I'm so curious about this. It's like, I do have recordings of me where I'm drawing and I'm not speaking. So I might be able to tell. And I think we have to assume that he is on the last touches of the beans because only a crazy person would pour it out like this straight on. I'm not saying Pete is entirely sane, but I don't think he's that level of Ooh, a waterfall. I've drawn a waterfall. We're drawing Pete the Duck, but if you're around after we get him sketched out, I'll sketch out a waterfall. Where is Pete's body? Pete is an angry duck. He is eating a can of beans. I do not know why he does this. He is a character that was created on stream, sort of out of the blue. I totally can't even remember why. So I think his head has to actually be pretty low next to his body if he's going to be holding the can. So I'm just going to move his body a little bit lower and his neck a little bit closer. Give that a quick erase. I was just thinking about that last minute. Okay. No problem. So then his wing will come up from here. This side? It must be this side. There we go. Ooh, an emperor penguin. Yeah. Okay. I hope this looks right. I'd hate to have to change sides that the hand is on, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, that hand back. And then back like that. This will be the tail part. Oh, hello, darkness. It does not ring a bell. I'll have to check it out. Man, I went to read some comics the other day and I just fell asleep instead. You know, because I'm old. Okay, we're sort of looking at this from above. We're like, our eye line is here for some reason. I don't know why I did it that way. A lot of the times my drawings just sort of develop an eye line. It's not something I consciously think about most of the time. Although I probably should because sometimes it makes a huge difference. Okay, Boom Comics, cool. I think, where did I read from them? I think it was from Boom, where gravity had been turned off in the entire world. And it was just a series of like almost like a teenage coming of age story, but set in a world where like 5 years ago or some odd, like all of gravity been turned off all at once for no discernible reason. And then like a bunch of like huge amounts of people were gone because they floated off before people figured it out. And basically only people in cities were still around because they like stayed inside um, buildings, right? And they had things to grab onto as they floated upwards and like could save each other. Whereas, okay, people in the country just went straight up into the sky and that was it. Okay, how in the world? So the problem is ducks are not people. um, okay, so I actually think this position is right, but I think we'd be seeing this grip. So I think same wing position I originally had, but different grip. Because it's, yeah, like that. Translating duck wings into hands, like as a cartoon, sometimes is like confusing. Yeah, I was thinking we'll do an emperor penguin and maybe a waterfall in the background and see how that goes. Something like that. Bean. Oh, hey, unknown. Yeah, yeah. This is the desk. So we've been in this apartment now. We're actually like been here for more than a month at once, or I guess we're coming on to a month. We haven't had to travel. And so it's really made a difference. We rearranged the bedroom and it's really nice. And if you're talking about just the desk, I'm getting there. I need to get some shims and maybe build a platform to make it even because the floor here is like it's like a 3 inch difference between the front and the back legs uh, against the wall. I've pulled it out a little bit. It's a huge 3 inches is too much. It's like an inch and a half, but it's a huge the whole floor is 3 inches difference. But yeah, I need to get my desk flat because my brain like gets really confused with the angle. But I'm going to do that. I just have to take everything off the desk and get it flat. But yeah, even being able to do that, we are we are like coming together. We're cooking a lot more. It's been good. How have you been? How is everybody? But Unknown Planet specifically. Actually, everybody. I don't know why. Um, I'm trying to think. if I should do some color. I mean, we can do at least the beans. Yeah, but we're going to do a little traveling towards the end of the month. Visit a friend. It'll be nice. Like, we won't have to work. We're just going to go see a friend, and then we'll travel the weekend after that, but just like an actual weekend getaway type deal, which will be the first time in a while. Maybe the first time in like years that it'll just be my wife and I on a weekend getaway. So we're going back to the hometown to give a friend some support and check in on some things, get some more stuff from where we were living. And that's from here, and we're in Kingston. We're going down to Long Island. And then the next weekend, we're going in the other direction, and we're going up to Cooperstown. A friend of ours has a cabin up there that they don't use all the time. So we're just going to have an overnight. Whatever they need. So we're not sure. Emotional, maybe, but we might have to help them move some stuff or that kind of thing. Never seem enough find time. I hear that, man. They're like, where does the time go? I'm constantly being like, okay, just 4 more hours of work. And then I'm like, oh, actually, it's freaking bedtime. So it's like, it's crazy. We have to get clothes on Jeff. I was thinking maybe some suspenders and a pair of like pants. I think that's what it's going to be. I know pants on Jeff don't always make sense because of the tail, but I like to get them on the tail, like the back and then the legs a little bit. Oh, yeah, that is good. Cooperstown is in New York, all New York. It's the where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. Yeah, so we have those trips coming up over the next month or so. Yeah, what did we have last time? Last time was so weird. We were going to find an apartment, and then we stayed at the cabin because that way we didn't have to get a hotel or drive back. And so we weren't like, it wasn't like a getaway. It was like a business. I wasn't gonna make these jeans, but I think I will now. Like that wasn't my original thought, but usually Pete the Duck is a lot classier than this. But he's slumming it, I guess. Oh, I missed your message, Marnie. All right. This feels Pete the Duck. Oh, awesome. I didn't know you weren't able to watch streams. Was it all right, yeah, we're gonna do, well, the idea was we would do an emperor penguin and maybe with a waterfall. So we could do that. Rivers are interesting because, like, also Pete the Duck and a wide kick saluting penguin. All right. So, like, rivers are so strange to draw because water, especially with, like, it's not that it's easier to paint, right? Or to, but when I sketch them, it can be really like, so if you're looking at a river and you're like standing here on a river, then this is a classic trick that works rather well. And like as the river gets further away from you, it gets smaller and smaller. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're doing better. I know you were, I think it was you were having trouble and were feeling unwell. So I hope you're feeling better. Being in the hospital sucks. But then, like, a river is mostly defined by its banks. So really, to draw a river, you have to draw two shores. And that's why rivers can be a little annoying. What I'll do is kind of do little tricks to make drawing the shores a little bit easier. Like having one shore be at least a little bit like banky like this. I don't know what this is called. Can put in some tree roots, have a couple of bigger trees here. I don't know, or I'm trying to think what trees are by rivers at the moment. My brain is. And they sort of need landscape on both sides. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I know they've recently discovered so much about the root systems from trees. So, like, I know they used to think that stumps a lot of stumps were just dead if they did not grow at all. But they found that a decent amount of these stumps, like, are not dead at all. They are still integrated into the like root system of all of their neighboring trees. I think of the same species, but it could be just all of neighboring trees. And they are just prioritizing, instead of growing like new leaves and doing all that, they just prioritize other trees, like, and giving the nutrients and everything to those other trees and being like an interactive or intermediary. And then also, like, they found that trees can be specialized, where like basically trees in a forest will have different jobs. And that feels crazy to me, but they found some trees that essentially act as like water reservoirs and stuff. And like, it just, there's a lot going on with trees, man, that we barely know. So I could imagine it causing issues up to a mile away. I think that's something else. This will do some grasses and stuff on this side. I didn't really do that on the other side. We can go back and do a little bit of that. Yeah, and this river is all without, like, we've gotten pretty complicated. We've had to go pretty deep, and we could continue to add detail like until the cows come home. Like, we could start doing the water ripples around different bits of the shore before we even start adding things like this rock or other things into the river. And then before long, we would get to animals and other plant species and stuff like that. So, like, I think rivers can be very, you can go really simple and have it just be like a blue line that gets smaller as it goes off into the distance, or you can go all the way. A lot of the fresh water where I grew up was springs. And so some of those would just be like right in the middle of the woods, and it would just look like woods, and then there'd be a bunch of long grass, and then there'd be a spring. Oh yeah, and you have to think like this would be shade. So like that would have a different kind of ecosystem. You don't have to. This is what I think about. I lost the line on this one. Because it goes behind that tree. Throw some rocks down. I'm just going to put a bunch of rocks along the shore, some bigger, some smaller, both sides. Just like extra. I'll put a little like woods to the edge here. Well, I got lazy on this left side. But this is about the start of a river. I think just drilling down into any specific area and working on that would get you a lot of work, would get you a lot of places. And I think also like making what helps me draw a lot is I think about what it would be like to be in a place or to move like a thing. And then once I do that, I find it's like relatively easy to like come up with what is the next thing I should draw or what's the detail from stuff like this. If I didn't have a lot of memories of like fresh water and stuff I could draw, and I think I would look up photos of rivers. We'd probably see a lot more mountains in the background. I guess mountains near rivers make a lot of sense. I'm thinking of little like, well, no, I'm thinking of rivers and like streams and stuff. We'll do a volcano in the background, and then we'll draw a somebody in front. Now, I think we'll do like one of those Pacific Island volcanoes. And we'll do like an island chain. What's crazy to me, right, is the way these island volcano chains work is so cool. I'll explain in a second when I get my drawings more. I think they have a, yeah, what is this called? Like a calundra. I can't remember. Mount St. Helens. Too late. I'm drawing a Hawaii clone. Um, so what's really interesting about these is, so if this is the Pacific Ocean, for example, and I don't think it's only Hawaii. I think there's at least one other one. But yeah, you have like, this is like a tectonic plate line, but like way under the ocean, right? And then well, also these are like, right. And where one plate is moving away, well, the plates are moving by each other, and the place where the lava comes out or the magma or whatever stays relatively still in the same spot. Like, and then as the plate moves away, it takes the island with it, and it doesn't move away like slowly all at once. It often moves away in like kind of jumps and jabs. And so you'll have these islands will have also come from this spot. I just think that's interesting. I haven't seen. I think I thought Mount St. Helens was like a fake when I was a kid. Like, I think I just thought it was like a fiction. Like a fiction like that everyone knew, like a classic fiction like Don Quixote or um Pompeii. No, I'm just kidding. I know Pompeii is real. Uh, but that kind of thing. Man, I did Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they've taken the scan of the world, right? And that's how they've made their maps in Microsoft Simulator. Simulator, Jesus. Simulator. So it's like real. I don't have it anymore. You can get it on Game Pass. You can basically rent it. So that's what I did. And you can fly over like real places and see like you can't see, I think, individual houses exactly. They've been anonymized, but like sometimes you can like you can definitely tell if you don't live in a really populated place, you can definitely tell like which house is yours. I could anyway. Um, not which house is yours. I could tell which house is mine. Anyway, so we flew. I had a lot of fun flying the planes, learning how to do it. After a while, oh gosh. So I read a statistic once that in every acre like of rainforest, there was probably 1,000 species that we hadn't discovered, at least. Whoa, that's yeah. The map data, yeah. Like, what was I looking at that this? The data was like, well, I mean, Microsoft Flight Simulator when I installed that is gigantic. Um, and they say if you want to discover a new species, to like, say you want to name a species after somebody, and you want to discover a new species, in order to do that, just go look anywhere, like wherever you are. That's what they say. Like if you want to discover a new species, the best place to look is wherever you are, because there's going to be a new species, say in your backyard or on the sidewalks of your city or whatever, as long as you are looking and in enough detail. So I imagine the same must be true for the ocean. Like there must be thousands and thousands of species in every small little section. Now, if we're talking bigger, I still think it must be in the tens of thousands. Well, um, or hundreds of thousands. Because, like, if you think about it, there were species that there's species that we had only seen like an example of 100 years ago, and then it shows up again, and we go, oh, that wasn't a lot. Like that illustration wasn't like a tall tale. There really was a fish like that. And the only reason we're seeing those is because for some reason they end up near the surface, or they end up near like fishing lines and stuff, or fishing nets, so we can catch them. And like there must be dozens of other species in that area who just don't do those weird little things that get them caught up in the fishing nets, right? So I think about that a lot. I think like, yeah, this is doofy, but I like it. Like how long did it take us to get evidence of a giant squid? And like we had been talking about the giant squid for so friggin' long, right? Hundreds of years, people had firsthand accounts of giant squid being pulled up by like sperm whales and being like coming to the surface or near the surface and then disappearing for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, right? And they were like, "Yeah, I don't know about that." And then they were like, "Okay, maybe there's evidence on like sperm whales and stuff that they have these like giant suction cup damage." And one came up with a like a actual like piece of the squid's arm like still attached to it, right? And they were like, "Oh, okay, like there's something," or it could just be this other squid we know about, but a big sample, a big example of it. And then finally, they had probes and deep sea cameras and all that, and they finally got a picture of the giant squid. And that's just one. That's a giant, right? Like, how hard was it to find the giant squid? Like, what if there's a normal sized squid or any other normal sized animal that lives under the deep ocean? And then like every time they're like, well, there's no way something is in this area because like it would just be too extreme to host life. And then they get there and they're like, oh crap, there's a bunch of things living here. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there must be other species down there. And then we also have to consider sperm whales are much more square, right? Yeah. That we're not really like we don't have barely any presence in the ocean or on the ocean. Yeah, we don't have barely any presence on the ocean. And then we have like even less of a presence in the ocean. Yeah, that's so crazy to me. That bacteria. And then they did a put was it bacteria or fungus? I can't remember now. On the outside of the ISS. And they were like, for years they've been like probably nothing could live here because of the extreme radiation. And they found like huge chunks of it were just fine. Like up to 80% of it was just like, hell yeah, brother. And then a decent amount was thriving. I can't remember the percentage. Yeah, so I think anywhere where we haven't done like really extensive mapping, we're gonna find we're just gonna be blown away by the number of species we find. Yeah, tardigrades are neat. That's true. That's true, thickness. And then you had China had a was it a satellite that was orbiting the moon? And the idea was they had some experiments on it. I don't know if it was meant to land and take back off. I can't remember exactly. But it had tardigrades on it and they crash landed it into the moon. And so there's there's a decent chance that there's tardigrades that just live on the moon now. Some scientists go, no, no, it's probably not possible, but some think probably, probably is. I don't know why this sperm whale looks like he has like a, oh, pit bull. Sure. Looks like he has like a bandana. Hi. Aspen Tally. Solid name. There's sperm whales. What's the ones that are not blue whales? Is it humpback? I'll have to look. I saw a beached whale. It is incredibly sad. They were alive for quite a long time. Okay. We had I lived with a friend of mine. She had a pit bull that was light colored and would get the most terrible sunburn. And they called her Pinky. I think about that dog a lot. She was the most friendly dog I've ever known. How do you say it? She was like, no, I was gonna make a joke. Stopping to make not making the joke and saying you were gonna make the joke instead of actually making the joke is the peak joke now. That's peak millennial humor. Oh no, don't. Oh, black one? Sure, sure. Um, let's see. I'm just pulling up a couple of reference images. I don't know how the black ones are usually colored. Oh my God. Oh, actually, I do know. My other friend had another very friendly pit bull, but it was a puppy, and it was named Dozer, which I think is a great name for a pit bull. Dozer or Tank or anything like that. Pretty solid. Pretty solid pit bull name. Okay, we'll get the basic face, and then we'll do some body. And then I think that works for the face. A little neck, kind of getting thick. Let's bring it up a little bit. There we go. I missed the full thing, but animals like blobfish, I do know some of you know, when we pull things up from the deep sea, they look much different than they would look in their natural environment. And what that can do, right, is like this shouldn't be true, but it 100% is true. When animals look pretty, they get more protections. So I forget who said it, but they said like if I crush a cockroach, I'm a hero, but if I crush a butterfly, I'm a villain. And so morality has like aesthetics and an aesthetic component. Now, I think that example is bad, but I think the way people think about morality certainly has an aesthetic component. There's a like we can see it in modern day with humans, like not even thinking about animals, but like if you're if you're like a very attractive person and you're up for some sort of suspicion of a crime, a lot of people will just be like, well, they're innocent without even really looking into it. Like they just think, well, that person can't be. And this has been going on again. This is something that's been going on for thousands of years. There's and we have a literal legal documents or yeah, legal account of a woman in, I believe is ancient Greece, it might have been ancient Rome, who was like, oh, I can't be guilty. I'm too beautiful. It would be a crime against the gods for you to find me guilty. And the Senate was like, yeah, you right. And they found her innocent. Is that true? Is it? I thought it was I thought they had I heard it from a credible source. Or at least I thought was a credible source. I heard like there was like exaggeration where like I've heard a different story where it's like she flashed them and then they were like, oh, okay. How are we gonna sitting? Hmm. I'm trying to figure. I went into too much detail with the face, which I'm not supposed to do. Because I want to make sure I have everything lined up. Oh, I don't know this at all. Spendrel, I don't know. Spandrel, I don't know. All right, this guy looks doofy. Hang on. Okay, yeah, I think if we just have it sort of a thick chest, that's the front. It's facing this way, kind of slightly out. And then we just have it goes back. Pitbull's back legs are often really small. Spindly tail. Not back legs, but like backside. And then that's the back leg. And then this would be the front leg. We have to draw some muscles. I try to avoid drawing muscles as much as possible. Oh, wait, I wanted to write down. Like bully, I don't know. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so maybe they thought like, that's true, Persephone. Yeah, so what they ended up doing is they created a law. I mean, this is what I had heard, right? So perhaps it's a modern fabrication, but they created a law that said you couldn't do that anymore. That you couldn't take into account, or you couldn't let somebody go free because they were like, the Senate was like, well, this will go out of control. Yeah, I'm looking up Bully. Is this the video game Bully? Hmm. Okay, this is starting to look normal. We'll do the Pipples often have I think they might even have to be like white spot. I've been doing a lot of geometric animals, and I think it's been helpful in my other drawings because, like, you sort of have to, have the leg come out to the side a little bit. I had it straight up and down. It didn't look natural, but I think if we just kind of like a lot of dogs stand, this is where the other back leg would be, sort of with their legs splayed out a little bit, especially if they're ready to play. Yeah, but I think the idea was that, like, if she was so blessed by the gods, like, then who were they to go against? It was kind of like showing that by punishing her that they would go against the will of the gods. Listen, this is all speculation, and we have information. It might not even be real. But what's interesting is this certainly happens in today's world. Like, this is not a thing. We don't have to have ancient examples. This is just a thing that still happens. I love how we think dogs evolved. What's the, you said like bully, but I don't know what that means. I can put your name on top of the paper. Wait, is bully the name? Okay, I gotta bring the chest in a little bit. I went a little much in comparison to the size of the head. There we go, that's a lot better. Okay, bully's the name. Okay, okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I grew up in like a conspiracy sort of theory household. Um, a little bit of yeah, yeah, that's I mean even Mario's brother was a an example of it, like in some ways. Oh, this time I wasn't holding my breath, I just forgot to talk. Yeah, unknown, yeah. We had a pit bull mix when I was growing up, but she looked just like a pit bull. She was black and brown. I think I think she might have been a pit bull mix because where she had lived before we took her in, they weren't allowed pit bulls. That used to happen a lot. I bet you it still happens. And so my that was my guess is she was pit bull, but she couldn't have been and still lived in the place. And then we had a Basenji. It's a cool dog. Thinks it's smarter than you. No, that's great. Oh my God. Yeah, we'll put Bully on basically right now. I think we've done some finishing touches on this guy. There was a pit bull I knew named Penny also. The same. She was like really coppery colored, kind of like Pinky. Same naming idea. Oh yeah, I definitely prefer cats as pets. Um, we had cats and dogs growing up. One of my dogs was a sheep sheep herding dog. I don't remember exactly. Oh, Irish. What? I can't remember. Some sort of herding dog. I was very young. If I looked it up and read a bunch of names, I would be able to remember, but that's not important. And it used to like nip at me and push me around when I was running, and that like freaked my parents out. Also, I didn't like it very much. Um, but yeah, we always had like two cats and a dog. That was pretty much. And I like cats more. I think I always have. I'm just doing some, well, this like ribbon work. I don't know what it's called. I saw one the other day, one of these, and it was in an old illustration. I was looking up old illustrations with ribbons in it, so that's why I saw it. And it had like this part where I've done one like little, I don't know, like rivulet, like one little curve like this. It had like 15. It was so crazy. I think it was between 9 and 15. And it just like it felt like it went on forever. And like it didn't, it just moved the ribbon like down here. It was very strange to me. I've seen ones where you go like in and then out. Like we can go out and down, I think, right? So in and then out. Oh yeah, and then this. But yeah, we're not doing that. I like to do one, or I like to go totally crazy and have it not even be like just have the ribbon be flowing all over the place. Okay, we're doing bully. Is this correct? I said this on yesterday's stream or 2 days ago, but my cat, my first cat, was named Clementi after a family uh, friend, my uncle Clementi, and he had one eye. I don't know what happened. He got into a fight, something. And then the cat I had longest after that, well, I have two, was Bully, Bulley. So double L is the center. That's the central line right there. We'll do L. L, they're small. Oh, we should do everything capital. Yeah, maybe B, U. Nope, pull it out. Do L, L. B will be big. U, okay. So we got B, U, L, relatively short, relatively shrinky. L, again, still relatively shrinky. And then E can be nice and big, and Y, uh, Why? Yeah. Why suck? Let's do, hmm. I'm thinking of all different types of writing. So I'm like not sure. I keep wanting to change it. I think this is good. I'm gonna redo the B real quick. Okay, I'm gonna come in and try to get this to be something like a serif font. Not the easiest to do hand drawn on the fly, but I think it'll look nice. Oops. But I think for me, a lot of why I like cats more is, well, I think it's twofold. I was closer with my cats than I was with my dogs, for sure. Um, and then I find cats are less, not less work necessarily, but like they're more chill. They're less like emotional work. First draft, baby. Ah, I need to start. Look at this. Look how shiny my underside of hand is. I need to remember to use the dang slip sheet. Ding dang dong slip sheet. Oh, guys. So we were talking about the song Frère Jacques or Are You Sleeping or Brother Jacques. Um, and I was taught ding ding dong. I'm pretty sure I was taught ding ding dong. Obviously, I mean, maybe not obvious. I only ever hear the song on British TV and they say ding dang dong. And I was like, oh, that must be a British thing, ding dang dong. But I talked to Oddfud and she said, oh no, I was also taught ding dang dong. But like, what? Because then I was thinking like, okay, maybe my mom like was weird and she thought it was ding dang dong. But then I was thinking like, no, I was definitely we sang this in school. Like we were taught this was something that everyone knew. So I need to find like another kid who went to my school and text them and be like, was it ding ding dong or ding dang dong? Bro. Oh, I know. I know somebody I can text. Ding dang dong, ding dang dong. Oh man, it's like a dumb song to have stuck in your head. Especially if you don't know any French. I don't know, Pitbull's noses are definitely... All right. How long have we been going? Really, that just means what time is it? Where do you tell me? Ah, okay, yeah. It's getting close to closing up time. Not bad. I would, on a second draft or cleanup draft, I would move around these letters a little bit. Maybe make sure this ribbon is good and straight. Throw in some, well, let's do it. Is this brush? No. Let's use graphic. Oh, hey, Aspen. How's it going? I was thinking about how one draws cloth and how like you always want it to be like have some thickness to it and some texture. Like, I don't know, it's not easy and it doesn't always feel like it makes sense. This is also graphic. I'm looking for my plastic nib. Ow, what the heck? Is this it? Yes, here we go. Plastic nib. Pin. Oh, thank you so much, Aspen. I like this PN one for really fine lines like fur or texture. It feels very much like a crow nib. Get very, very thin lines, very scratchy. Oh, oh, cool. Yeah, I think that's a good that's what I think too. Like it's that's the right way to think of it. Like, would Hollywood allow this? That's what I'm going by. That's why I use PG-13 instead of like, I don't know. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Aspen. So kind. Yeah, I'm not going to do the letters because it's a lot of work and I would want to do a lot more work than even just inking them. So I'm just going to kind of leave those half done, but I'll give the pup some love. I know, I know. It's not about how my hand gets bad. It's about how it puts the smudge on the drawing. I used to do a lot of spray paint work, and like, no matter how hard I tried, I would always get paint on my hands. And so I just stopped trying, right? Like, make sure you can breathe. That's number one. Kind of whatever else. And I just had to pumice my hands at the end of the day. My hands have never been so clean. Where else did I work? I used to have to work somewhere that my hands were like always, always like black. Oh. I worked as a bowling alley mechanic. And man, do your hands get dirty. Like just covered in like lithium grease and mostly the lithium grease, other greaser oil. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're very delayed. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much, guys. Um, Gals and non-binary pals. I will be on tomorrow. Oh yeah. Yeah. No slurs. I'm gonna be pretty strict about that. But like a curse here or there, it's fine. As long as somebody's not like constantly cursing, I think it's totally fine. I think people seem to have been very communicative about what makes them uncomfortable and stuff. And I think as long as we're all in it together, I think it's going to be good. It's been a nice experience so far, community. So I'm stoked. Everybody's doing a great job. All right. Yeah, we did bully. This is pretty good. I did bully. Let's see. Let's go over them quick. Bully, river, sperm whale. What else do we got? Volcano. A duck eating beans by turning his neck around 180 degrees. What a freak. And that's it. I don't see anything else anyway. This is my favorite thing today. Oh yeah, wait. We also have this hand of Coke. Wasn't fave, but it's not bad. It was an early when we were first getting started. I feel like sometimes the first getting started drawings can be real. Can be real. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.